everyone, it's Arlene. Today's project I have is actually a 12 by 12 scrapbook layout for you. So it's using some of the 12 by 12 paper, and the stamp set that I'm actually using is called the Artisan Textures, and I'm going to use a couple of stamps from here. This is a really nice one because it just gives you some backgrounds, gives it some texture that you can use on your pages or your cards. And that's the only stamps that I'm using. And then I'm also going to be using some of these thinlits here. This is called Nature's Roots Framelits dies. I'll be using some of the dies from there. And then also too, I'm using one of the dies from the Swirly Scribbles Thinlits dies. Say that fast 5 times. I'm using one of those. Okay, and I'm working with some designer series paper and then also a piece of the Very Vanilla. And you'll see this is just a rectangular piece. It goes with my layout that I'm using. There's really no set dimensions that you need to use for this. For scrapbooking, it kind of really depends on the size of your photos that you're going to be working with. So I want to just use from the Artisan Textures set. I've got this background stamp right here. This is the one, and I'm using the Crushed Curry, and it's a lighter color. So because this is going to be my journaling box, typically I would probably stamp on it and then stamp off first on scratch paper, but for this particular one I'm not, just because it was fairly light. See that? It's not really super dark, so it's not really going to hinder your journaling here. So I just stamped a couple, one on each opposite end. Let's set that aside, and then let's go ahead and I'm getting the Cajun Craze, and I'm using this again from the Artisan Textures. This is the stamp I'm using, and just going to go maybe a couple times there, and then flip it over and do the same thing on the opposite side. Give a little bit of texture there. And that's all. This is the only stamping that we're using for this project. Let me get this cleared up, and then I will show you the designer series paper that we're using. Okay, so the designer series paper is called Nature's Poem. I'm using a 12 by 12 sheet of the purple like stripes. It's more of like a blackberry bliss color. It is double-sided. You can see how gorgeous that is. See the leaves on the other side. But for this particular page, I'm using this in 12 by 12. And then I also have, again, from the same Nature's Poem designer series paper. There's that flip side, which is pretty too. And I'm going to be layering it onto the Blackberry Bliss paper, or the designer series paper. What I've done is cut it at 11.5 inches square, so that way when it's layered onto this 12 by 12 piece, you'll see some of that. So it's actually matting that as well. Then I also have an embellishment here. Now this is from the Delightfully Detailed Laser Cut Specialty Paper, and this is going to just go onto the left side like this. I wanted to show you though what it actually looks like. When you get the laser cut specialty paper, it comes in 8 sheets of 12 by 12. These are very delicate, and there's 8 sheets. There's 4 of 2 designs. So this is one of the designs, and you can see you can actually kind of cut that and use this as a card front. I took the part that I'm using, it was just right here. So you get 4 of these and then 4 of a different design. But see how it's white on one side, and then I'm using the vanilla side. So you can use different colors there. Really pretty. Okay, so let's put that on, and I'm going to go ahead and adhere that together. We have that adhered on there. I love this multi-tombow glue. However, it stays and it's really good, but once it gets on your hands, it always seems to make my hands really sticky. Next, I have some some of that, again, some designer series paper. And this time you'll notice that I flipped it over and I'm using some of that. And how I measured it is I just went a little bit larger than my photo, and then again a little bit larger with the Cajun Craze, and then a little bit larger with this purple DSP2. And let's go ahead and get those all adhered as well. Next, I'm going to bring in some die cuts that I've already made ahead of time. So this is from the Swirly Scribbles. Let me bring a piece of white paper that you can see here. I used one of those, and then from the Nature's Roots dies, I've got the leaves. Now you see there's 3 different kinds here. This one is just an embosser, so it's not actually going to cut. Let me bring that light better. It's not going to actually cut it, but it's going to emboss it. And then the second run through your Big Shot is the actual cutter, so it will cut out the leaf. And I've done that with 3 different designs. So that particular one, here's a crushed curry, and you can see it just gives it the embossed look, and then the second one just cuts it out for you. So I've got some of these. I've got some in the Cajun Craze. I used some Old Olive as well, and then I used that, again, some of that DSP and that Blackberry Bliss color. I'm just going to kind of put these on, design where I want it to go. Yep, almost. Oh, and then with the swirly design, I took some of the gold, our gold glitter paper. Isn't that pretty? I love this gold glitter paper. It goes fast. And I cut that out. So that's just going to give it a little bit of bling there without too much. Without adding too much and making it look super shiny. All right, so I've kind of got in mind where I want this at. So I want it to peek out from the top corner here. And I'm just putting it, it's sticking from behind where I added some of my adhesive. And then we're going to do this. Now I'm going to set it down, but I don't want to push down on the edges there because I'm going to go ahead and use some of the leaves and actually insert them under my frame like this. I'm going to use a yellow, I think. Do a couple on the bottom. And I'm just going to go ahead and keep doing this until I get what I think is going to look the best. Now that we have this so far, it's time for me to lay down my journaling box. So I will put that down here. See where I want it to go. Put that down like that. And I have a few extra here. And I think I'll add those too as well. Okay, and I think the last finishing touch, I want to add some of these faceted gems. These are in the gold, and again, just to carry on with that gold glitter paper there. Let's see, I'll add a few here. And maybe a couple down here. Okay, and then you have a completed card or a scrapbook page. There you go. Thanks so much for watching, everyone, and have a great day.